Hello, hello. So, this is the third edition to the Hidden Artist Village podcast with my guest, Rachael Chau.
Woo! I have a kazoo here. It's too far away to use, but it's here. I have two.
Wow. I'm not gonna lie, when I said your name, I felt like it sounded like the Mortal Kombat introduction.
Really? Someone was
Yeah,
blasting that music on the street today. These two old dudes were
really.
blasting it on the street, and these other guys were like, "You ready for Mortal Kombat?"
Yeah, oh my God. Okay, so we introduced you in Mortal Kombat. Okay. Rachael Chau wins. Fatality.
Yay! Oh, I don't want to hurt anyone.
Oh my God. So, yes, this is Rachael Chau. Everyone should know who Rachael Chau is if you played Honkai Star Rail. If you guys are a fan of that game, Rachel was the original voice of Stelle, the English
Stelle,
version.
the
Yes.
original voice of
Yes, yes.
Stelle.
Yes. So I wanted to start it off. How has your 2026 been so far? We've only been less than a week in.
Listen, as you know a little bit, 2025 was a crock of shit. So this year is already going a lot better. My birthday's right at the top of the year, January 2nd. It just passed a couple days ago. So I get
Happy
to
late
like,
birthday.
thank you. I get to have like a full reset. And it's been such like a calm and content holiday season. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm like very much looking forward to getting back into the swing of things. I had my first auditions of the year yesterday, and I have a headshot shoot tomorrow, which I'm so nervous about because I my face will freeze up and things will go a little crazy, but we'll do our best and we'll be very brave about it. But yeah, it's going great so far. 28 is also treating me nice. I'm happy to be done with last year in all seriousness.
Look, I feel that 2025 was a little tough for sure.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I feel like a horrible person. I didn't know your birthday was
Oh,
actually
that's
January
okay.
2nd.
No, it's okay. It's not information I tend to advertise, and we only just met this past like end of summer, so I would not expect you to know
Yes, yes.
that.
How did we meet for the people that don't I think we met at Anime New York City,
Yes, we did.
2025.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Alistair is our mutual friend, right? You know him
Yep.
from a group, and there was like a voiceover mixer thing happening at Anime NYC. And we were both in the same room at the same time. We started talking, and then we became friends.
Yes, yes. And I was cosplaying Guts with my big ass sword. Yes, I
Yes, you were.
Yeah, it was so cool. Like honestly, meeting you was really nice, and I just didn't really see too many voice actors in New York like that. It was kind of rare for
Yeah.
me. So I
Hmm.
was like, oh wow, like Rachel's actually part of us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it's strange because it feels like we have less of a community here, but I don't think that's true. I think there's just like less infrastructure for us all to meet in person and like actually mingle and be friends. Because online spaces are great, but like, it's no replacement for the real thing.
yeah, for sure. And you were just so bubbly, just chill vibes. Like I'm like, okay, like I like people where I don't have to edit myself or feel, you
Yeah.
know, so that felt great.
Good. I'm glad. I think that's a theme for me this year. I had therapy last night, love. And I was talking a bit about performance and not liking to perform and not wanting people to perform for me. And I think as actors too, I was thinking about this today while I was just like walking around and I was like, wow, I think I really need to keep the performing to when I am performing. And
Mm.
then in life, like really just let all of that shit go. So that's definitely something I'm thinking about as we're starting this year.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I feel you can't pour too much out of your cup because then if every day feels like acting, like are you actually acting, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, it's definitely tough. So, but you're multi-talented. Like you're
Oh,
not
thanks.
only an actor, like you can sing.
I try. I try.
amongst other things as well.
I really try. It's hard because I feel like my whole life I've really been a jack of all trades. And the end of that phrase is master of none. And I really am like a master of fucking none in my brain. And maybe that's like imposter syndrome talking to me, which I didn't experience before Star Rail. Let me just say, everyone was talking about imposter syndrome. I'm like, wow, that sounds like really not fun. And then I was like, oh yeah, it is really not fun. It fucking sucks. I think it has a lot to do with like expectation of the self and like what you perceive other people's expectations to be of you as well. Um, but yeah, I started my journey playing music, singing. My mom said when I was 1.5, I sang Mark Antony's "I Need to Know." It's not Mark Antony, it's Mark Anthony. I'm sorry, I got Shakespearean. It's Mark Anthony. I would sing that song in the back of the car, and she always said that she wanted to record it because she knew no one would believe her. And I was like, "You're so right. I don't believe you." Because she's like, "You were so on pitch," and I'm like, "I don't think so." At like 1.5 or 2, but it's really sweet of you. Like, love it. I know you're my mom and you love me. But it started with that, and then instruments, and then musicals. And then I got into my high school where I had to study theater and acting for the first time. And then songwriting was like a casual thing that was thrown in there, but is a little more serious now and more personal. And, there's all these things. I think writing has been maybe one of the bigger through lines, writing and music, but I think acting is my main mode these days for sure.
I feel that. Like, being a good singer is such a power, like such a superpower, like,
I
cause
know, I'm trying to get it. I'm like, can I
yeah,
understand this? Can my nasal like open up? Because there's something wrong up here. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, because like for me, I don't feel like I'm nowhere near the best singer at all. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't classify myself as a singer at all.
Uh-huh.
Um, I usually stay in my lane. Like I
Yeah.
can I can do baritone bass singing,
Okay.
but
Yep. I see
like
that for you.
yeah, but like I get so jealous of people that could go higher. Like my favorite music artist is The Weeknd, and I literally one time paused one of his songs to try to sing like him, and I was like, "Oh, this is terrible! Like
Oh
glass
no.
breaking! Like no, it's bad."
Well, listen, if you wanted to pursue it, you could. Voice lessons are very expensive, but that's something that could definitely be open to you. And I think as like a singer, it gives you more in the acting realm and the voiceover realm as well, especially if you're familiar with like using a mic for singing. It all just kind of plays into each other and gives you more, and it's so fun to audition for voiceover pieces that have like a music element, and I think that definitely gives you an edge, because a lot of people aren't able to do the music stuff or they aren't able to pick it up as quickly. So it's definitely something that's out there for you if you ever wanted to pour a little more into it. I think you could do it.
Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna try to learn how to play guitar too. That's one of my goals.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay. Well, I have a
I'll
shitty
try.
ex who used to play 30 minutes every day in the morning, like right when he woke up. And not to give him props, but he was very good very quickly. And then he promptly dropped off that shit. And did a bunch of other horrible things. But I recommend maybe just the 30 minutes a day thing to get
Yeah.
familiar.
I think so. I mean, we have YouTube tutorials, but I will go to a real teacher.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
for
I mean,
sure.
those guys are helpful too. And my friend Belle Shay, if I may plug her, Belle like the princess, Shay like the boa. She's a wonderful musician. I fucking love her music. I directed her first music video, which was a big honor. And she was taught by her mom, which is so lovely. I think it's such a beautiful like tradition to pass down to people in your family or like people you know. But she was taught by her mom, so didn't have a bunch of like the traditional like standard techniques or whatever, and she's developing more of that now. And I think the site that she told me about was called like Pickup or something like that. And I think it might be a little bit more for instrumentalists who have a foundation of sorts and want to develop technique, but maybe they also have beginner stuff. So I'll have to find that and send that to you because it sounds really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to get my skills up as well. There's other like languages I want to learn too. Like I obviously speak English and Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah, like I'm amazing.
Okay.
I
Me too.
and anyways, the sarcasm is crazy, but but I speak
Oh,
Spanish as well, but not
yeah.
fluently. I would like to learn some Japanese too.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's about it. I've learned some Portuguese words,
Oh, yeah.
but
That's like hard because
yeah.
it's so close to Spanish, but also so different from Spanish.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like when I
Something
worked
sounds
at
similar.
Disney World, we would often get people being like, coming up and speaking what we thought was Spanish. And then we'd say like, necesita español, and they'd say sí. And then you'd bring someone over who speaks Spanish, and suddenly they're speaking, and the person goes, they're speaking Portuguese. And I'm like, well, they lied to me clearly.
I really feel like it's tomato, tomato, like, or better yet, like apple and oranges when it comes to like Portuguese and Spanish. Like it's almost like it's kind of there, the same family, but not really.
Yeah, yeah. I've sung in like a choir setting in Portuguese before, and I'm like, oh, this is like on paper it looks sort of similar, but then the pronunciation is just like so differently flavored
Hmm.
that I'm like, I don't know.
For sure.
Sorry, Portuguese
So,
people.
yeah, I mean, I love Portuguese people as well. Growing up watching mixed martial arts, I saw a bunch of
Yeah,
Brazilian people,
there you go.
fight.
Hmm.
But I was gonna say, so what made you like, what inspired you to chase this as your career? You could have done anything else. You wanted to be an artist.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I never saw myself doing an office job of any sort, and I've made good on that promise so far, besides like a high school internship. But basically, again, my family really informed this choice. My parents have both always loved the arts. My dad was a little more involved than my mom was. He did some songwriting back in the day. And has always like alongside his day job done like other things like indie films and produced musicals and things like that. Um, and when I was in middle school or maybe upper elementary, my sister and I are 3 years apart. Her birthday is this upcoming Sunday. Happy early birthday, sister.
Happy early birthday.
Yeah, but as we were talking about before we started this, as a younger sibling, I did whatever she did, and she started watching anime when we were in middle school. And of course, I was like, well, now I have to watch this. I guess it's sort of the segue might have been the end of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which we started watching when the finale Sozin's Comet was airing, which was an interesting choice. We were children. We were children.
Hmm.
But we watched all the rest of it and caught up and then watched that. And then the first anime that we watched were Ouran High School Host Club
Interesting.
and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Same genre, nothing different, really just a one track there. But no, we loved both of those series so much. We had a lot of fun with them, and having watched not that many different anime, I'm like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is clearly one of the best. I think it just like has so many different genres that it touches upon and does so well and like justifies all of them and has incredible world building and all of that. And we watch these in English, which I don't do as much anymore, which I probably should do because I should grow a brain cell. But I haven't done that yet. Sorry, I really love the Spy Family voice for Anya in Japanese. She sounds so like a kid, and she's a full-grown woman, and I'm like, you're incredible, and so adorable. But anyway, it started with that, and then I would like start really late at night on my little laptop. I'm a serial laptop killer. Hadn't killed those ones yet, I suppose. Had to wait till high school, but I would watch like not just New York and San Diego Comic Con, but like smaller conventions. I would watch all of these panels from all these different voice actors. And I would like really be invested in what they had to say. And I think what drew me to voice acting in particular was not like the glamour of the con stuff, which also it's exhausting. It's really exhausting. But I think the community of it felt so special to me. And it's really changed over the years because these cons are so popular now, like especially, Comic-Con. It's comics as well, and it's turned into a lot of mainstream television and, movie franchises and things like that. But it really started out as these people who were nerds and geeks and didn't feel like they had other places to really gather and meet people on a large scale like that. And it felt really special to me. So I kind of held on to that. And then I went to my high school, Bergen County Academies, clock it,
Okay.
Hackensack, New Jersey. It's a special school. It is I think it's technically a magnet school. So it's from people all over the county. I grew up in Bergen County, New Jersey. And you had to test in because it's higher levels. So it's lowest level honors classes. So everything is honors and above. So you have to be kind of smart. And I sucked at math there. I was in remedial math, basically, like the lowest possible level. And they made me do like a summer camp of math before I entered the school, which was what? Embarrassing. But we got through it. And then I had to do an audition for theater. And I was gonna, in my sister's day, you could apply to 4 different academies, is what they're called. You can think of them as like majors or focuses. By the time I got there, you're only allowed 2, and I was gonna do music and culinary. And my mom was like, "You're wasting your talent if you don't do theater." And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I've never acted really. I don't really understand acting. Like, don't know what I'm gonna do." We got a coach who helped me with my monologue for like a few sessions. I sang a song for the audition. I got in. Um, Learned a lot about acting. Felt really like good about it. Our junior year, we started doing Shakespeare monologues and voice and speech, and that's when I was like, "Well, I'm in my zone now because I've been thinking about voice acting this whole time." And I really popped off in voice and speech, okay? I can't lie. And then we got to senior year, and I had a really, really rough go senior year for a variety of reasons. But it ended up going really well, and I got my first professional job before I graduated high school, which was in a little video game that I'm still so proud of called The 10th Line. I play Sonia, who's like this like intense priestess slash archeress. Archer. I don't need S after that one. That's fine. Um, and yeah, I was just really honored to be a part of that sort of thing. It was a really simple script. It's just like 1 page. I think I got paid like $75, but PayPal took their cut, so it was like 72, 73, something like that
Mm.
at the time. Felt really proud of myself. Went to NYU for acting, Tisch drama. I was in the Stella Adler studio, and then later I did Stone Street, which is the on-camera studio. Graduated in the pandemic in 2020. But I had already gotten my agent around the turn of 2019 into 2020. And yeah, just kept auditioning from there. Built up some other video game roles. I've never had a reel. I should work on that this year. I've never had a demo reel in my fucking life. This is why I say don't do as I do. I'm just gonna tell you things and you glean what you wish from it.
Yeah, you told me that. I think, yeah,
I
when we met
know.
the first time, you told me I don't have a reel. I was like, that was so alien to me because I was like, oh my God, I need to freaking have a reel. Like, that's what I was doing for like the first couple of years of voice acting. I was like, oh my God, I
Yeah.
need that. You
But
know?
I think it's such a slippery slope too, because like you want your reel to be your best work. And it's expensive shit unless you have like, if you have the know-how or some friends of yours who are willing to take like a lower rate or do it for free for you. Like they're really expensive and you want to make sure you're ready for that. And, when you're going out to audition too, you want to make sure you're ready to do those things. Um, so yeah, it certainly feels like a step, but it's one that I never really took. And I feel like I don't know if people just like saw my resume and saw that I had a couple, smaller video games on there and like audio series. I did with a wonderful company in New Jersey called Cape Swoosh Productions. Shout out Jeremy. They're great people. I did audio an audio series of Scott Pilgrim for them. I was Ramona Flowers, iconically. And I did Envy's singing in like a flashback one time because they couldn't get the actual person who was supposed to do it. So I was like, sure. Um, but yeah, just, building up projects like that and working with friends. And I guess people had enough confidence in that. They were like, sure, we'll give this person the audition sides. And I've just sent samples to people and I do feel kind of embarrassed about it. So I'm like, I should probably get a reel going. But yeah, I've never had it. So that's kind of the overall arc of my journey. I'm very lucky to have a very supportive and encouraging family with all that. Um, and yeah, it's fucking hard. And I lost the job that, was my biggest job this past year and it sucked. It sucked a lot. But we're in this age right now where AI is running absolutely rampant And I have heard my voice AI'd by civilians. Didn't sound like me, but I'm also really bad at knowing what I sound like because I'll hear my friend talking in a video and I'm like, oh my God, is that me? And I'm like, no, it's not. So apparently I have hearing blindness in that way too for my own voice only. But yeah, it was really hard losing that. But I think for the longevity of all of our careers and for this industry, for the planet, because AI is really, really hard on the environment, and how else do we live if not in the environment? And a plethora of other reasons, such as everyone is so creative and smart, so much more than they give themselves credit for, that I don't think they need all that. And you should pay people fairly, and you know, that should be the standard. So I'm proud to have stood up for those things. It was a hard loss, but I'm gonna believe that it's gonna pay me and all of us in this industry, including the audience, including everyone that works on it. I'm hoping it's gonna pay us back in the long run. So still proud.
Yeah, no, for sure. You unpack, some interesting things, like for sure. Like I'm first of all, like just to go back a little bit,
Yeah.
I sucked at math, notoriously, right?
Sucks. I mean, I was really
I
good at long division when they first introduced it in like third, fourth grade. And
mhm.
then, like, very quickly after that, I was like, ooh, this is getting a bit much for me.
When they started adding letters, I was like, all right, I'm out. But but
Letters
like
and numbers.
yeah, I'm like, all right. You know that meme where he just does the peace sign, like, and I just fade out. Like that was me. Um,
Yeah.
I failed a couple of times in math.
Oh
Look,
no.
I went
Tests
to
or classes?
like I was good in history though. History was my
Absolutely.
best subject.
I feel you.
And at the same time, I went to remedial math too. Now this is funny because I don't know if you've ever watched Drake and Josh before.
Of course.
But do you do
Oh
you
yeah.
remember that episode where where I think Drake is like in remedial math and it's just a bunch of delinquents? I don't know if
I
you
have
remember that
blocked it
episode.
out. Listen, my school is full of nerds. There were no delinquents.
Oh,
We were
okay,
just
okay.
like the arts kids. And there was actually a couple, not to blow up these guys' spots. Sorry, Max and Jason. Won't say your last names. Haven't talked in years. They were in engineering, I think, and were in the remedial pre-summer course with me and like my art friends, like the theater and music kids. I'm thinking back and I'm like, how are you guys at engineering if you're in remedial math?
That's crazy.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, the reason I mentioned that is because like I remember doing remedial math for that one semester and I was like, oh my God, why am I here? Like, I don't know, that
Yeah.
class was just weird. But I
Oh my
ended
gosh.
up
Were you ever
passing.
sent to Kumon or anything? Bro,
Mm-mm.
that shit fucked me up. My dad thinks of that as one of the times that he like was there for me the most as a dad is
Mhm.
when my mom stuck me in Kumon, which is like one of those like after school like intense like study programs, and I fucking hated it. I felt so much dumber than everyone. I also didn't care about what we were doing. I was miserable, and my dad one day was just like, do you want to be doing this? I was like, no, I am so like miserable. Like this fucking I didn't say fucking sucks. Now I would, but I was like, this is awful. So he got me out of there, thank God. It's not fun.
Yeah, like I feel that. Like I didn't go to like a 4-year university. I went to CUNY and you know, I had to change my major because it was theater, but I'm like I'm already an actor. I've done theater before. I can just
Uh-huh.
take classes outside of this,
Yeah.
you know.
Hmm.
I ended up failing my theater major because I fell asleep
Whoa.
in the front of the class. It was 4 hours long. Right? That's how long those classes were. But hey, I changed it and I'm happy. But yeah, so going back to the school stuff, so you went to NYU.
Yes, I did.
It's funny, I literally, as my day job, I work at NYU,
I
which
know.
is crazy. I'm tired of seeing school, but one day I will, eventually have my exit.
Yeah.
But that's so cool because I walk around Tish like all the time. There's another actor that I'm like inspired by a little bit too. Like Paul Castro Jr. went to
Mhm.
Tish as well.
Yeah.
He was in New York, then he moved to LA. And he's in things like Dragon Ball, he's in Twisted Wonderland, so many things. um, so that's really cool. And you said you went to Stella Adler, like acting
Yes.
studio?
Well, it's funny you said that you walk around Tish all the time. I did not,
Mm,
because there's only, to my knowledge, if it's still like this today, out of like the 9 studios, one of which is production and design, so like 8 are acting slash some are one is a musical theater studio. Um, Only 3 are in house at the Tisch building. It's ETW, Experimental Theater Wing. Um, Playwrights Horizons is not in there, but it's really close to there. And there's one more, I think. But mine, Stella Adler was the first studio to join the NYU program. Let's just put it out there. I'm very proud of it. They were located when I was going by the Flatiron. They were on 27th off of Broadway, and now they're down by Trinity Church. So I was always not on campus. So you're probably more familiar with the Tisch building than I am, because I was really only there when I was in like an ETW show, which was 1 semester or something.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny too, because I work there, but then I'm like the same age as all these students, and it's like it's always been like this weird kind of dynamic.
Maybe you
Um,
could sneak into a class that you're interested in. I don't think they'd notice.
I was offered that. I actually was like one of the professors was like, "Would you want to stay?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't have to pay any tuition to like be in this. Okay, like
Don't
I'll
ask
learn
that
something."
question. Don't give them an in. They have enough money. I'm saying it right now. Love you, NYU, for certain reasons, but you don't need more money, girl. You do
I
not.
I read a statistic that they make $4 billion a year.
Yeah, sounds honestly sounds kind of low. Sounds kind of low for what they charge.
Oh my God. Yeah. We could go into that like forever. Like literally 60K to 90K for everything. That's in 1 year. That's for 1 year, guys, of
Yeah, and me and my
whatever.
sister went there at the same time. We overlapped 1 year. So she had a sports scholarship. I think I had a little merit-based scholarship, and then we got an extra one for that one overlapping year. I don't think it was a lot, but yeah, that times 2 per year is insane.
Yeah. I mean,
Sorry,
look,
I'm
you
turning all my lights on as it gets darker outside, so there's just
no,
like a weird effect going on
it's
here.
all good. Look, we live in New York. It is January. Stuff starts to get
Days are
darker
getting
now.
longer though. We're coming
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. I was gonna say too, because I've seen Stella Adler like on my Instagram, and I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
I was like, maybe I should check it out. I'm
Yeah.
interested.
Hmm.
I miss kind of that in-person acting stuff that I used to do. Like I used to go to the
Yeah.
Barrel Group around
Hmm.
Madison Square Garden, but yeah, I haven't done that in a while. Like go into like a in-person class.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
they have summer conservatories and things like that. Evening conservatories, it's not just the NYU Tisch program. They have all these other things going on all the time. They're an incredible education resource. I have friends that I went to school with that like work there now in different capacities. Like I have a friend who works with the youth program there, which is awesome. Um, and yeah, it's just a place that has always, I was really lucky to have some incredible teachers, among them Betsy Parrish, who has since unfortunately passed. But she was a contemporary of Stella Adler and Marlon Brando. And, at like, I don't know, her late 80s into early 90s, she was teaching us little rugrats, and she taught us so much about being present and being curious. And I think that's something that Adler in particular fosters so beautifully, because it is about the imagination and like coming up with your own, backstories and circumstances and inner life and all of these things. And I just think the culture there is so about the craft, and I don't think in a pretentious way, in a really like passionate, genuinely curious way. And that's something that I've always admired about them. They have an amazing voice and speech program. All of the voice and speech instructors that I have come into contact with are amazing. And yeah, it's a place that I will always recommend to people. They're awesome.
awesome. I follow them on Instagram, so I
Yay.
feel I can definitely like make Saturday classes. I will definitely try that.
Okay. I didn't know they had
Yeah.
just Saturday classes. That's pretty great. It is far from you though. It's really far from you.
I did my research. Like, it's
It's
all
further than
good.
NYU. You're gonna have to go all the way down.
That's fine. Look, we live in New York. We have the train. Like, I'm okay with that.
Good for you, because I'm a
Um,
brat. I'm like, an hour, you're pushing it for me. I'll travel for friends, but an hour is a lot for Elmo. I'm Elmo.
oh my goodness. So, we talked about like animation and
Hmm.
like what inspired you with that. So,
Yes.
what about gaming? Like, do you have like 3 to 5 games that you'd say that are like your favorite?
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess this part also bears speaking of my
Mhm.
sister also and my cousin Nick, shout out. Not the same Nick L as Nick Leung, who many people know in association with me. But our cousin Nick and my sister like were playing the same video games all the time growing up. I remember there was like a Rugrats game on his PS1 that we would play at our grandparents' house, and that shit made me dizzy. It made me dizzy then, it would make me dizzy now. But they played a lot of Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, so I would always watch them playing that. My dad played Tomb Raider, love Tomb Raider, love Lara Croft. That's who I was for Halloween this past year. Um, yeah, I think I was always around games of different sorts. My uncle on my dad's side, he loves games too and would talk to my sister about it. So I always kind of had those in the periphery. I didn't like play a ton of them. I still haven't completed the first Kingdom Hearts because there are like two chests of the Dalmatian puppies that I have not gotten to because I haven't beaten the Hades Cup and I can't end the story without saving the puppies, so I just stopped. And that's on ethics. But there's I'm more of a cozy gamer or like a narrative driven gamer. So I play like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley
Aw.
and things like that. And I've streamed Little Misfortune, which is a game that I love. And yeah, I'm still like I think it's just such an amazing art form. And I feel really grateful to be a part of it. And there's so many people that like have their hands on these projects in different ways. But yeah, it's been really cool. I feel like we really grew up in a technology boom, and not just like technology in general, but like technology for the masses and the common people. So getting to see how much all of this has changed just in our lifetime so far is pretty crazy. So I'm very grateful to my sister and my cousin for introducing me to these things. And there are many expectations about what I should be in to like complete this circle of this narrative that is this journey for me. And I hope I can make good on those because I would love to be in those projects, like
Oh,
without a doubt.
yeah, for sure. Like, look, I my dream is Square Enix Final Fantasy. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
I love Final Fantasy 15.
Mm-hmm.
Love Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts, the first one is actually my favorite Kingdom Hearts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
People lately have been trying to tell me that Kingdom Hearts fans are not like real and they suck. And I'm like, and why are you shitting on someone else's joy? Some of us grew up around Disney and some of us also wanted to play games and are like, I don't know, we believe in hope and shit. Sorry, dark times, we need it. I think it's a fun series and has a lot of heart to it. And there's a reason why people care so much about it when the games release like 50 million years apart and
Oh
everyone's
yeah.
still barking for it, you know?
Oh yeah, like people are waiting for four, and it's
Mhm.
funny because we have such a contrast in gaming. Like yours is so cozy and bright and
The world outside is
nice,
too much. I gotta chill.
but and then mines would be like Dark Souls, God of War, like all
That's
this
my internal
craziness.
life, so I don't need it in the game sphere. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like the suffering. I need it. I love it.
No, no, no. Read some Shakespeare, guys. That's also so tragic.
I don't know. I just feel like for me, imagine me like in a colorful garden. I feel like
Who
how
said it
would I
couldn't be
even
colorful?
feel?
Maybe it's dead. Maybe it's winter. Think about that.
Yeah, that's true. Like, look, I'm not a very dark person, y'all, but I don't know. I like these worlds. I love Berserk. That's like one of my favorite anime as well. Like,
No problem with it. No problem. Just like, well, it's funny because I feel like it's far more. No, is that true? I was gonna say like video games compared to other kinds of art, like music, TV, whatever. I feel it's more common to be like really in one genre of game. That's just a thought I had now. I don't know if that's like a horrible, like false, sweeping generalization, but I feel like it kind of is true.
like being in one genre.
Like people like to play,
Oh,
gamers like to play like pretty much one genre and they stick to the similar kind of things in that genre.
yeah, I feel like it depends. There's definitely people that just they play Souls. Like that's all they play. They played all the Dark Souls, Elden Rings, and all that.
Good for them.
Um,
I couldn't.
yeah, no, like it's yeah. I mean, I feel like to play those games, you have to be a little bit of a maniac. Like you have
Mm,
to be like, I love the pain. I will conquer this no matter what. That's how that game is. It literally tests your ego and like I'm being so serious.
in what ways? Maybe I should play it. I don't know. Everyone needs a little healthy kick in the ego to calm down.
Well, so Souls games, it's kind of like, oh, so you think I'm gonna give up? You think this is it? Like you think I'm just gonna tap out? This is over. You defeated me. I'm never gonna like
Whoa.
accomplish this. Like it gets that personal with Souls.
That's my life, dude. I don't know about that actually. Like, I'm done suffering for the year. I think I'm actually good on suffering for the next 5 to 10 years. Thank you very much,
No,
life.
for sure. But it like video games does have like a beautiful message. I feel like the messaging for Souls is really like you can overcome. You have to just be
Yeah.
persistent. That's literally what it is. And patient. It literally teaches you
Yeah.
about life in a weird way through struggle.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I had to take a break from it because I can't anymore. I low key retired from Souls at this point.
Whoa. I
Yeah.
mean, you could have a big comeback someday. Who knows?
I will say, Lies of P is my favorite one. You should definitely play it. It's based on Pinocchio, and he's like in this dark world. Really awesome game.
Wow, I'll have to look that one up later. Okay.
Yes. So I want to get to the meat and potatoes,
All right.
So let's talk about Stelle from Honkai Star Rail. So what
Let's
does
talk
this
about it.
character mean to you? How did this happen?
How did this happen? My shelf of all my stealth things that I've gotten from fans, etc. over the years is over there, so I can't show you everything. I have like 2 stealth things on my desk. Oh my gosh, wait, great plug time. This is from Brother Ming Games. I can't remember who the artist is, but it is listed everywhere. It's great.
That is awesome.
I didn't sign this one obviously because that'd be like too much for me, but it's sick. I love it and I'm very grateful to have it. Thank you, Ming. If you like video game related stuff and also games, board games, head over to Brother Ming Games. Love him. Um, I I made a TikTok video on this because people asked like that first year, 2023, when the game came out, it was like kind of gangbusters crazy. Like because I was thoroughly unaware of how big this game was until all of that started coming out. Um, but I had made a I made a TikTok about how I had gotten the role, and someone commented recently and was like, "I'm just seeing this now," and I haven't replied to that comment, but I want you to know, person, if you're listening to this, I feel you, buddy. That's rough, buddy.
That's rough.
uh, it really is. I feel it. I get it. But yeah, so I have been with my agent since 2020, but I think this is an audition. It's definitely an audition I got on my own. I think all of, pretty much all of my voiceover credits I've gotten independently of any representation, which is kind of wild. I think that will change now that I'm with new rep, in addition to my older rep. But anyway, so I think I joined around 2020 some voiceover rosters, which I think is far more common in the voiceover world than anywhere else. Like, on camera stuff is very traditionally, I think, through rep or through these casting sites. But rosters are something that I think are pretty specific to the voiceover industry. And I joined a few that were for like queer folk, people of color, etc. I think for this game, which is a little ironic now. For this game, they were looking for a good amount of Asian voice actors. And I am an Asian American. I'm Chinese American. So I was on that list. They reached out to me and they were like, hey, here is this project. Here's a big old folder of all the femme roles. Here's a big old folder of all the mask roles. Audition for up to, I think it was 6, and submit it by such and such a date. I did it. I recorded, I think, 7 different character auditions, which is also somewhere on my TikTok, all the different characters that I covered. I'd have to dig through my emails to find it otherwise. But yeah, I auditioned for 7 of them. I cut it back to 6. I don't remember who I cut. That was in, I want to say May of 2021. And then about a month and a bit later in June, I'd gotten an email back that said, "You have been cast. The studio will reach out with more information." And I was like, sick. I didn't hear anything for a very long time. The game changed studio hands on the state side during that time. And then we landed with our new studio. And in February of 2022, I started recording. So I'd, had the role for a while before it launched in April 2023. Became friends with Nick Leung, one of my very best buddies, who is also like actually kind of a family friend, which we learned along the way. Um, and yeah, it was crazy to see the reception of it all and all these like pop-up events going on in the city. And my most recent ex, may he rest in peace, he's alive, he's dead a little bit in ways one might
Yeah.
say. But it's crazy because his friends were actually at one of the events that Nick and I went to. I was doing a musical, my beloved Emily Dickinson musical, over in LIC, and it was a 2 show day for me. Plus, there was an event in Queens at Pelicana Chicken, Peace and Love. We love them. And Nick and I went to that, and my ex's two friends were there that day, and he was actually supposed to be there. But like, even now, even with the whole recast situation because of me striking for AI, which by the way, I was legally obligated to do because we started the strike and then I got an on-camera role a little bit later, like a couple months later, that made me join the union. And it is a rule that you have to strike when a strike is called. There's a lot of misinformation out there about that, which bothers me. And the trolls on Twitter love it, but I know the truth. And I'm happy to share it with people at any time. But yeah, it's just crazy to see how like far spread like this game is, because I always say that I'm like micro famous, because I am. I think it's like a very specific group of people that I am known to. But then I'm at a birthday thing that I was at. Um, One of my friends was like, my cousin brought you up over the holidays by full name and they didn't know that I knew you. I was like, that's so fucking crazy. But also like, this is a role that I thought I would have for years and years to come. So it's a really hard loss. And again, I'm proud of what I did, but it's still really wonderful that for like every one horrendous troll, because there always is a few every now and then, who just have nothing better to do with their time. I'm like, you could be making the world a better place, but you're just blowing smoke. I don't know. For every one of those, there's like so many kind people who are still so in my corner and have been throughout like the whole of the strike and everything after, and I'm so grateful for it. And it's like an unnecessarily complicated situation in a lot of ways, but it's a project that I'll always be grateful for connecting me to so many fans. I love that character. I loved her. I think the version of her that I got to do was so fun because she's such a fucking badass, and also she's so dumb. Like my version of her is like, she will fuck you up, and she was born yesterday, and that's important because she's stupid and we love her for it. But it's really fun to like balance the silly with like the soldier in a way. And it brought me, some of my dearest friends and a lot of people in the voiceover industry that like, I've as this situation has unfolded, especially, I think I've seen a lot of people's true colors, and I see the kind of people that I would like to be in this industry. And if I may shout out just one, Miss Chia Court, who is my mom in my heart, and also like a good friend. She is someone, she's the original Vi in League of Legends, among many other roles. She's so incredible in every way, and that's the kind of person that I want to be in this industry, who like stands up for herself and for other people, um and makes really good on her word and does excellent fucking work and is like a fucking cool person. So yeah, this game, this role has meant a lot to me, and I mean, I'm glad I didn't get the tattoo. Let me say that. But it will always have, like, Stella in particular will always have a very special place in my heart. And yeah, there's a lot of people who I gained from this experience, even so. And I hope that we all get to work more together and, like, live more life together in the future.
No, that's so beautiful, and a lot of voice actors would love to book a playable character like that. That's a prominent
Yeah,
game. It is rare, like
I had
it's
no
honestly rare.
idea. And I will say too, like, as a protagonist, you typically don't get as many lines as the other people. And something that was always like hard for me was, oh, everyone's getting like invited to all these things. and like I am nowhere to be found. You really don't get a lot of attention as a main character in a game like that unless you're like of, you know, a certain caliber, like Zach Aguilar, great guy. He has all these other anime credits, all these other game credits. I'm not him. Star Rail, I think, cast a lot of newer people in like harmony with a lot of seasoned people, and I thought that was something that was really special and really cool. And again, along with the casting a lot of Asian actors things, that thing has shifted since these recasts, and I don't know why, but at the time it was a very special thing, and I think something that I hope can be carried into the future on productions like this because it's important and it's cool.
Yeah, for sure. And you do mention Zach Aguilar, who is also one of my inspirations too, like for voice
Yeah.
acting. I met him a couple of times in LA and New York,
Mhm.
and yeah, like he's had other roles as well, but yeah, so I understand that it could be a little tough. Even his role as Ether in Genshin Impact, he doesn't
Mhm.
have any lines. His literal line is just Windblade and like, some efforts and stuff like
Slay
that.
mama.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, going to they originally wanted actors from a specific region for these characters. Um, Now, was it because they just wanted that authenticity, or was that just a preference?
I'm not sure. I feel because we from what we saw, it was a lot of people of Asian descent who got cast in that game, and not exclusively by any means. And there is at least one world in Star Rail where it's very important that they are Asian actors. Um, but I think along with all these rosters that really like blossomed and sprouted up all over the place on the internet around COVID times, I think COVID was this really interesting moment for the voiceover industry where people had the time to reflect and we're like, wait, why when other parts of the industry, entertainment at large, why when they are getting so much more diverse is voiceover still not as diverse? Like why are there still white people doing accents of like immigrant people of color in a way that can be pretty offensive? And like maybe it's super accurate, but they don't have that lived experience. And I think that was really starting to become a thing with like a lot of bigger actors on like mainstay shows, and not like anime, like American shows. Were stepping down from roles and saying like, "Hey, I've played this role for however many years. Um, my time's up. Like I realize this is not cool." And I can't remember who the actor was. It's a white middle-aged man, which really narrows it down. Um, he's a great one though, but he had made a bunch of posts on Twitter about how because a lot of people are like, well, why can't you do that? Like blah blah blah. You do such a good job, and he basically said, I have had as a white man access to all of this stuff for a very long time. It is my duty to let other people who are diverse, part of marginalized communities, whatever you want to call it, and are more in line with the character. It is my responsibility at this point, at this day and age, to let them have that access because I've enjoyed it for a really long time, and like they should too. And we need to welcome these people in. And I thought that was a really beautiful way to put it. Because I think there's a lot of scarcity mentality. And, that makes sense in capitalist America and all the stuff that we've been through in recent memory. Um, but it doesn't have to be that way. And it does take, I think, people being brave to speak up about things, whatever it may be, to normalize that in an industry. And that's something that I want to prioritize. It's hard because I'm not as big as a lot of other people. But I'm hoping that, at the relative start, been doing it for, 10 or so years by now, but at the start of my career in a big way, that I can also come in with that energy and normalize those things and, help make that change happen. We need to not be afraid of it because we all can coexist here. There's so much work. It can be spread around. There are plenty of people who are like scared that they won't be top dog anymore. And it's like, hey, that's okay. Like you can survive. Maybe let other people have a little piece of it.
Yeah, for sure. And, going back to what you said, it reminds me of this quote that Denzel Washington said, I think like on an interview for
Mhm.
Fences, where he
Oh,
said,
fences.
Yeah, so he basically said it's just s- they didn't have a white director because he wouldn't understand what it smells like to have a hot comb on your hair on like a Sunday afternoon or morning, you know?
Oh, that's such a good quote. Yeah, that's the thing. And I think it's interesting in the queer conversation as well because I have long thought, and I think this is becoming more normalized because it's also like a matter of disclosure, like how much do people have to reveal about themselves when they have a career in entertainment? Um, there's a lot of outside stuff that as a queer person can affect you. But the basis of it is you're loving another person. And a lot of people know what that experience is like. Most people don't, like, I walking through life looking like this, don't understand what it's like walking through life like you, like a man, like a Latino man. Like, there are things you can see about people and people make immediate judgments. And then queerness is something that sometimes you can see based off the way that people dress or like you can infer based on how they act or something, but you can't know for sure. When people see me, they're not like, wow, maybe she's white. No, that's not happening. And if it is, uh I'm overusing sunscreen, or maybe you just have bad vision. I don't know. But it is, it's just a lot about how you are perceived without someone knowing anything about you. And I think Denzel's got it exactly right there. Where like not only is this like an incredibly specific experience of like the sights, the smells, the sounds, but it's also like the perceiving, and in fences especially, of course, it's so important that you have someone who gets that shit. Like, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Beautifully put. And so, we did talk about Stelle, and I just wanted to say, I heard your Stelle like on YouTube. I never played Honkai Star Rail, unfortunately. I was
Me
more
either, basically.
I was more like on the Genshin wave for a while.
Uh-huh.
Um Zhao was my favorite character, but that's besides the point.
Shout out, shout out.
Yeah, that's how I learned about Lila Verzins, the voice actress for Zhao.
Mm-hmm.
And but going back to Stell, like I remember hearing your Stell, and I was like, wow, I really love the personality on this, and it's something that I've been like really touching on recently, and I'll elaborate soon. But like even when I went to the comments on YouTube, like people really miss and like love, your Stell, and no shade at all to any like actor that takes the role on my part. Anyone else could that's them. But you know, I just think it's so special. Like the first actor of that character, no one's gonna say it, but realistically, we always kind of feel like, yeah, that was that character, Like we
Yeah.
associate them with like their soul with this actor, their performance.
So
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um and like you said, with the personality with Stell, you said she could be a little dumb but could kick your ass, right?
Look at that face. Does she look
Oh.
like she's all there? Nope, she's not.
Yeah. So I feel like something I've struggled with being an actor is like, okay, I was gonna make sure in every audition that I had good acting. But I didn't
Mhm.
need to do that. Right? It was gonna be there, right?
Yeah.
I hold myself to a standard, but the thing is it kind of something I've learned about acting too is just you have to like kind of shift your focus elsewhere. And usually a lot of actors worry about their performance or how they sound, but they're
Hmm.
not really focused on what would this person do in this scenario? How
Yeah.
does this person like act in a certain situation? Like what is their personality, their vibe? Like I feel like a lot of people don't focus on that. I was part of that as well. I feel like I didn't put too much emphasis on that, which I have changed, and the good acting will follow,
Mhm.
right? Um, but yeah, I say this to say, what do you have to say for those fans of OG Stella?
um, Thank you. That's really the gist of it. Yeah, I mean it's really weird to be an original voice. I just turned 28, but at the time that it happened, I was 27. Because usually an original voice is someone who has aged out of the role or like, doesn't do acting anymore, whatever it is. For me, that was not the case at all. So it's really odd to have that title, but also to hear you say that is like really heartwarming and special because there's a lot that's happened in this past year that I'm like, oh my God, like, was this all a dream? Like, what transpired here? I'm so deeply confused. But to know that my version of her lives with people like that. And like we had, I mean, this is, I'm assuming across all languages, but we had more than 10 million people who had like pre-saved the game or whatever on launch. That's insane. um to think of, how many people started the adventure with my voice as like a how old was I when I started recording? Like 24. I was 24 years old and I'm 28 now. Crazy. But yeah, to know that they like started the journey with me and went on that journey with me and Caleb is so special. And what you were saying about I think what you mean is like the life of the character and like the essence, as you said, their vibe, like the fact that they are this full being and this full character. I think that came from a combination of like pressure,
Mhm.
preparation, obviously the people in the room, the directors, the engineers, like translators, anyone who had a hand in it, and the writers and all of that, of course. And also the fact that I'd been with it for so long. Like I had recorded for years by the time that, things went down. Um and I've thought of it a lot, over that journey of learning, wow, this thing that I'm in is actually really huge. And I'm still learning that more and more every day because I'm like, I ain't even in it anymore and people are still talking, hopefully in a good way. But I think doing what we get to do, day jobs and all the other stuff, anxiety, stress, all of it is such a privilege because I think about the fact that my parents grew up dirt poor. My grandparents were working in factories and restaurants and, fucking rice fields out in Hong Kong and China, all these things. I get to stand in my closet and imagine that I am a hero or a villain or whatever it is and make silly voices and pretend I'm like slashing at people and pretend that I'm getting like punched in the stomach and all these things. And it's a great privilege to get to do something that we love, even sporadically, because it's not, especially right now for us when we're early in our careers, it's not constant work. And I think about how there's so many people in the country and in the world who are working jobs that they like quite literally fucking hate. And that's real. Like that's my family story too, Like sometimes you just got to do work that you fucking hate because you need money. And to think that, they come home or they sign off of work on their computers and then they turn on a game that I am in and I get to be a part of something that gives them like maybe one of the few sources of like actual joy and fun in their lives is an incredibly special honor, and I will never take that lightly. And I think that's part of the reason why entertainment and the arts are not just like a frivolous thing. They are a very important thing. They've always been that way. And in this context, when the world is a very dark place right now, I think it is extra important. So I'm very, very grateful. So thank you.
Yes, that's very, very well put.
Thank
um,
you. I should have done it in a British accent. It would have sounded better.
Listen, I'm trying to work on my British accent. It's
Woo!
yeah, but it's quite difficult at the moment.
Okay.
I'm working on it. I'm working. But
Good.
I was gonna ask as well. So I'm halfway through my questions. Like I just had so
Really?
many for you. Don't worry, I don't have like
Oh my
50
gosh. I'll answer
million.
faster. I'll answer faster.
No,
I
no,
love
it's
a
okay. It's
story.
okay. Yeah, like you could take your time and all that. It's just I had so many questions for you. I was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I could
We
like
can do a
fit this
lightning
all.
round. Lightning Leo. Let's go.
Yes, yes. I actually have a headband with like
Oh
lightning on it.
my
Yeah.
God. Oh.
Also, I forgot to show when I was talking about Final Fantasy earlier, my friend got me
Yeah.
like this little chocobo.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I should have gotten
Yeah.
that for my sister for her birthday another
Yeah.
time. I
Yeah.
literally just got my kazoo to do my classic.
Can you do that one more time but with the choco? Hold on, hold on. Okay, 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 wait. Okay, okay. Okay. If you can.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He's a
Awesome.
winner.
Thank you so much for that. So yeah, okay, so lightning around.
Lightning, lightning. Okay, so
That's
fast.
actually thank you for you know what? That's actually a good segment. You know, I should
You're welcome.
definitely like lightning round, right?
Ideas. I got ideas
Yes,
and jokes.
for sure. Okay, so lightning round. So
Okay.
you've been on Netflix. How was that?
It was good. For anyone that doesn't know, I was in a show called The Beast in Me, which just released this past November. I recorded it September of 2024, so it was over a year since I had shot it. I was just a day player. I got to work with Claire Danes, which was super cool. I had like one line in the scene, but they expanded it and we did some improv. It was a beautiful day in Newark, New Jersey, standing in for Central Park. I did body check Claire Danes with my shoulder at one point because we're like walking with each other and I'm, pumped up because I'm playing an activist, which many people were like, this is a perfect role for you. And I was like, whatever do you mean? But yeah, I fully like bumped into her and then I made a joke after they cut and she laughed and now we're best friends. No, we're not, but she was great to work with. It was a wonderful experience, except for the AD who imitated my voice in a way that was offensive to all femme people ever. But I gave him a dirty look, and that's not how I talk, so no one has to worry about it.
Oh my. And was that like through an agent or you just like, a
Yes, that
casting
was
site?
through my New York agent here. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And so this other question, right?
Mhm.
You're a part of SAG-AFTRA, right?
I am. Yes, I joined because of the Beast in Me role. Actually, that was my must join.
Yes, okay. In your opinion, is it worth joining SAG? There's a lot of non-union
Ooh,
talent in New York and just in the voiceover
yeah.
world.
I think it is. I've gotten to be involved. I mean, SAG, I think, has so many benefits. It's really interesting because I'm also part of Actors Equity Association, AEA. For anyone who's not familiar, that's the Stage Actors Union. So I'm part of both, and it's really interesting to see the different benefits. But I've taken at the SAG Conservatory, which is a small extra fee, like I think it's like $50 for like a 6 to 9 month season of classes. I've taken classes there and like the sense of community and continuing to take class but not in a super super expensive way because I already paid like $250,000 in tuition for NYU, which is enough, ça suffit, as my high school voice and speech teacher would say. Um but yeah, I think there are a lot of benefits to it. The people that are part of it are so passionate about supporting performers. I volunteered for their holiday event and just to see like the care that people put into it and like a lot of the younger generations too. People that are older than you and I, but certainly younger than a lot of folks there. They care so much not only about like booking like helping people book work and learn and like be working actors but also like just to support them and like have community and be people that are really there for them in their corner, not just in like the acting of it all but in the life of it all too. I do think it's worth it, and I fall of last this past year I joined Dean Panero Talent, which I'm very very happy about. um but people over there too were like, yeah, you can certainly make a great career as a union voice actor, or you could go FICOR, which to the people listening at home means like financial core, meaning that you are part of the union and you pay your dues, but you don't get all the benefits of being a full member, but you are able to do union and non-union projects, which is why that form of membership is super common with anime and video game actors. Because yeah, like there's a lot of great projects and a lot of dubs for games from other countries and some a lot of animes too. Not Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is union. But a lot of them are non-union because they're dubs and for whatever reason that's the way it is. There's merit to all of it and what's interesting about SAG is that you do have to join at a certain point. And with Actors Equity, you actually don't have to join ever, which is why Patti LuPone was able to be like, I'm done with this union. And she left, even though she was like on Broadway shortly thereafter. Um, but yeah, it's really interesting. But ultimately, like, I think what gets lost in the conversation about unions, because there's a lot of Twitter trolling and all the things, unions are there to protect the people who are part of them and the industry at large. And I really respect a lot of the people who, even if they're not union productions, run their productions in a way that is like on par with a union production, which means like you get regimented breaks like every hour, 15 hour and a half. um, just like things that protect you while you're working. So yeah, I think it is a great thing to be a part of. Up to you how you engage with that, whether you do FICE or full member, or if you never want to become a member. But at certain points there are must join things. So yeah, my first job was Law and Order. That gave me points, as it were. And my friend, who is a stand-in, who stood in for the Mean Girls and Mean Girls the movie, the musical, among other things, was the one who informed me this means that you are eligible and that your next job will make you a must join. And I was like, oh my god, I had no idea. I had a speaking role, so that's why. But yeah, it took me 2 jobs to join that union. And I don't think I've regretted it. It is interesting to navigate choosing projects and parts and like what you will accept at a certain point, because of where you are in your career. But it's something I'll continue to navigate as best I can. But yeah, unions are not mafias. Just so everyone knows.
Yeah, no, awesome. And like, yeah, like you said, it's there to protect you, and you
Yeah.
will get lowballed in this industry if you allow that
Yeah.
to happen.
And
There's
how are
people,
you to know as well? Like,
yeah.
at some point we're all new to this. So the more people you can have in your corner, I think it's always the better.
Yeah, that on top of like, I believe the new union stuff, they've added like, AI protections
Yeah.
and things along those lines. Yeah,
Hmm.
for me, I currently have 3 vouchers. I'm just like
Ooh.
waiting for like my third pay stub so that I can send it out to the union.
Right.
So I'd be SAG eligible at that point. But I really do think it just depends on what you want your career to look like. There's
Yeah.
people that don't want to do on camera. They just want to do a
Valid.
voiceover. Yeah,
Good for
that's
them.
valid.
Yeah.
They just kind of want to do voiceover, and like joining the union may not be so attractive to them if they want to do non-union stuff too.
Yeah.
But me, I want to be on camera, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
eventually, I may have to join the union.
Yeah. It's kind of
Yeah,
a must if you're working, like, if you want to be like on TV, in films, etc. It's kind of a necessary thing there. But yeah, some voice actors just want to be voice actors, and like some don't. And that's totally fine. Whatever works for the individual.
for sure. Okay, so does location matter?
In what context?
Like when it comes to voiceover, like do you think
Uh-huh.
it really matters as much? Like some people have great home studios. So.
Yes. Well, let me just say, mine is not the most professional studios. There's a lot of shit I have to haul out of my closet before it's usable. And then when people start like dropping shit above me, I'm like, curse you, neighbors. I don't know who lives above me, but I curse them all the same,
It's New
just in a
York.
gentle way. It's
Like,
New York, baby.
yeah. Do you
It's
live in
how
New
it is.
York without like yelling at your neighbor? Like,
Yeah. Um, I think location matters less, but still matters. From what I have heard and what I talked with you about before, is that lag, aka latency, is still kind of a pretty big issue with remote recording, meaning like, if the studio's in LA and you're in Kansas, there's a delay of the sound getting to you and you to them, etc. It's not impossible, but it does make it a little bit harder. Um, but I had heard that hopefully that issue will be like fixed in the next hopefully 3 to 5 years. So I think it will matter less. And I'm friends with quite a few people who are disabled voice actors. And I think that adds, and they've been amazing advocates for this as well. And we need to listen to these people, because we don't know, they know from experience, again, from lived experience. Remote recording makes it possible for people who, can't leave their home, or like have issues moving around, or have flare ups, or whatever it is. It gives them a way to have this career, or any career, that works with what they can or cannot do comfortably. And I think that's so important. And it's a reason why we should be working on the. Listen, remember how I'm bad at math? I don't know how these things work, but I like to think that if we work on these issues of latency, etc., that we can fix them. And that would be amazing for access, because it shouldn't just be people who live like on the coasts or in major cities who are allowed to have voiceover careers. And it shouldn't just be people who can afford, like, to put themselves in an expensive studio. Like, I mean, because of the nature of the beast, buying equipment and stuff, it is an expensive thing to pursue. But there are people all over, and they have voices and they have talent and they have experience and they have so much to bring, like everyone does. Which is also why the AI thing bothers me. I'm like, you're creative and smart. Like, I know it's annoying to say, but like everyone is special because no one has ever existed who has the exact same set of circumstances in life as either you or I or anyone else, you know? It's just true. Like, there's too many variables for it to not be true. We need more voices. And again, there's so many projects and there's ways that we can make it better for people to exist in this field. And I think we should do it.
For sure, for sure. So I have only 3 questions for you
That's
left.
good because I've not been answering quickly. The first one I did
No,
quickly, and then the
it's
others I said,
you don't have to beat yourself up at all. Like literally, you're a
damn.
wealth of information and knowledge.
I thank
So
you so much. That's so
yeah.
kind of you.
So what is like your big goal that you're chasing?
Oh, okay. You know, I wish I had a more specific answer for this. I'll give like my general answer and then my more specific answer. I have always said, and I don't know if this is me being like a little shit, when I was growing up and people are like, and what do you want to be, little girl? I'd be like, I don't know, or like, I'm not telling. Because in my mind, I'm like, rock star or like novelist, which are the same thing. But I think at a certain point, I realized it's not exactly like one specific thing I'm chasing so much as I want to be able to live comfortably off my, you know, arts career, whether that's acting or music or writing or some combination of all the three, you know, mixed up over time. Things will fluctuate. Um, but I want to be able to live comfortably off of my artistic career, doing projects that I am proud of, that I think are important, that I think are special, with people that I feel the same way about, you know, like people like Chia, who I can really look up to, um, and feel are, you know, not only incredible artists, but incredible people. I think there's a lot of assholes out there, and not even assholes, but like straight up criminals, like people who harm other people, you know, in every industry. And it's funny with entertainment because and other industries too. They're like, yeah, they did XYZ, but they're so good at XYZ, you know, other things. And I'm like, there's someone equally as good or better in other ways or the same ways who is not an asshole. And I think we need to perpetuate these things because we've accepted a lot of shitty behavior. Um, and we just should not. And now Rachel has lost the thread of the question, but has said something.
No, I mean, you made it pretty clear. Like, you said you wanted to live off of your talents and
Oh,
what
right,
you
right,
love to
right.
do, and you raised awareness for all the cuckoos out there.
I try. I really try. And my more specific answer is, I mean, I know Demon Slayer is wrapping it up, but if I can get in there, I'd love to be in there. I do love Spy Family. Would love to be in Spy Family. Uh, Shout out to my ex, One Piece. Not an original thought or love, but a lot of people love One Piece, and I'd love to be in any of that. You know, that's an incredible legacy to be part of. Any of the Avatar: The Last Airbender properties, put me in,
The
coach.
new show is coming out, and
I
you know,
know.
and you said you wanted to be in Demon Slayer, which is actually funny because I currently have a Bang Zoom shirt on right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
bang zoom.
Yeah, I
Love
caught
them.
when I caught this shirt, it was like the most
You caught
aura.
it?
Yeah, it was like
Super
the
canon?
it was like the most aura-filled moment. Like it was in Los Angeles and like they threw it to the crowd and I
Oh
just
my
stood
gosh.
there and I just went,
Received.
yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah, like it was crazy. But hey, I hope you do get in Demon Slayer. Mami Okada, who's the casting director for all this stuff, if you're watching this, please
Yes.
give Rachel a chance. Um
We have a couple degrees of separation.
yeah, like that would be super cool. I
Yeah,
think they
it
have
would. I
like
love that show.
yeah, I think huh,
I think they have 2 movies
2
left.
movies, right?
Something like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
You got time.
I got time. I
Yeah.
got time. I've got an
Oh,
in, maybe.
yeah. So yeah, that leaves me with just 2. So let's just say, you know, someone wanted to work their way up and kind of
Mhm.
have a similar career as yours with the trajectory that you have. Like, what should
Mhm.
they do?
Um, First, be a decent human being. Very important. I think it's really important to be, those like four agreements or whatever. I haven't read that book, but the one that always sticks with me is be impeccable with your word. Like, do your work, do what you say you're going to do. If you're not able to, be communicative about it. Just like be respectful of yourself and others, I think is a huge thing in this industry. And not just in like an ass kissy way, but like for your longevity, because you have to set the standard for how you are treated and how you show up. And that I think will, change throughout your career, but it's something I think to get right with early on so you don't struggle with that as much as you go on. Um, be really curious. Again, the Adler thing of uh staying present and staying curious. Another quote that we have in Stella Adler to live by is growth as an actor and growth as a human being are synonymous. And I always say, like, there's no one. I think we're a little past the eat, sleep, breathe mentality. I fucking hate that piece of advice. I just think there's no one person in this world who is only interested in one thing and one thing alone. There's at least two things anyone is interested in. And I think it is important for you to live a full life. And that's something I'm reckoning with now. I'm like, what if I never do something bigger than Star Rail? Like, what if that's it? I have to be happy with the life that I have and the person that I am. And I think that needs to come first. And then hopefully everything else gets easier and I can be less precious about it and do better work. Because as you learn with acting and with singing and most things, nothing good comes out of tension. You need to be relaxed. You need to be prepared. You need to have training. There's this great video that my voice and speech teacher from Adler, Alethea Phillips, I love her so much. She's incredible. She shared this on Instagram, and it was such a great video. They talked about, I think, actors and jazz players, or maybe it was like some sort of fight, like an athlete, a fighter, and jazz players, and how they tested this thing somehow. Basically, you need to have enough training and preparation and experience to support those things. And then when you go to performance or, game, meet, whatever it is, you let it go. And you just, you know, you're in flow. And I think that's really similar with acting. You do a ton of prep and then you're in your booth and you got to make it work, whatever it is. So you have to be able to rely on that training and then also be present and like go with the flow and know that your shit is there. Like you were talking about, the acting's going to be there. But you have to have done enough training and prep and keep up with that stuff to know that it's going to be there. And I'm definitely not perfect about that, but that is something I'd recommend. Like, do your voice work, do your warm ups, do your exercises, consume other art, consume things that aren't art, whatever are interesting things to you that adds to the color of everything that you are going to put out. So live your life, train in some way, shape, or form. It's really expensive, so it doesn't have to be the most formal bit of training, but there are resources out there. Um, so yeah, be a good person, be a person, live your life, have training that you can rely on, and do your best to like get experience so you can learn how to exist in that realm, even if it's just, it's so different from being in a session, but even if it's just like some of your friends and you on Discord and you go around and you're like, okay, let's like try out these different scripts together. Like that's an amazing way to just work those muscles and to make it fun and to make it less pressured. So just do what you can and like talk to people. I hate networking. It's not my thing. But like, be a person. Be a person to other people. And be in community with people. That's something we've really lost and I think is super important to your life and your career.
That's beautifully said. And networking, I feel like a lot of people are kind of on and off about that. I just feel
I'm
like,
off.
yeah, like I just feel like natural networking, kind of like how we met. It was pretty
Yeah,
cool. Like
I guess so.
I wasn't like looking for anything out of you. You know what I'm saying? Like you weren't doing the
And
same to
that's great
me.
because I probably don't got much.
No, oh my God. But it's just like when I try to make connections, that's not the first thing I'm looking for at all. It's not
Yeah.
even there to begin with, really.
Yeah.
It's
It's
the
a
human
curiosity
being.
thing. Talk to people.
Yeah, exactly.
What's their story? I think what can you learn from them is like a good thing and a bad thing. Like, we're not farming people for like information, stories, etc., connections, but like just be with the person who's in front of you
Mm.
and like share.
Yeah, exactly. And what you said earlier, like kind of, okay, you have everything, you have the training, you have the experience, and then kind of just forget it, right? Like let it go, let it go. I love that because, as an actor, you are going to adapt a lot. I kind of
Yeah.
compare it to water, like Marlon Brando, as you mentioned earlier. He's one of my inspirations.
Mhm.
And, he said something like, acting is like survival. And he said it's like a lubricant, like it's like a liquid, kind of like a water going down a dam,
Yeah.
and it really does flow. Um, but you have to be adaptable like water, like Bruce Lee said.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's, acting is such a tough medium to do because like it's so psychological and
Yeah.
emotional,
Yeah.
and some people don't have the capacity for that. Um,
Yeah. I mean, especially with
yeah.
voiceover, like, I love my dad is like, I think your future is Broadway. And I'm like, I don't know about that, but thank you. But the thing with live theater and any performance where you're live is like, hopefully you know all your words and you're blocking. You're just set loose and like what happens happens. There's things that you have to deal with in the moment. Stuff like voiceover, it is recorded, but you are in a session where not only are you like, okay, I'm like imagining all these things around me, like I'm imagining this setting, I'm imagining who I am, imagining who's around me and what I'm doing, because you don't have previs all the time, which is when you get to see the animation of what you're actually voicing. A lot of the time it's not that, so you really have to imagine it on your own. But then while you're doing that and you're speaking, you also have to think of like, okay, how close or far am I from the mic? Am I going to pop some plosives? Do I need to block that in some way, shape, or form? Do I need to turn my gain up or down? Do I need to do XYZ? Is someone making noise? Blah, blah, blah. There's so much that you have to split focus on, especially as a remote voice actor, which is why I've done one in studio job ever in my life for voice acting. I think, I'm pretty sure. Um, Very nice to do those because then your job is mostly just to be the actor. When you're remote, you're focusing on a million different things as well. And it's fucking hard. And there's nothing that can truly replicate that experience. So, as many reps you can get in of like what you can control of it is important.
Yeah, and another thing that I deal with, like everything you just said as well, with the technical sides of things,
Yeah.
like I don't do good in extreme temperatures. Like if it's too hot, I'm gonna get irritated. If it's
Yeah.
too cold, I'm gonna get irritated.
Yeah.
Like
I feel
so
that.
your body is like while you're in the booth sometimes, at least for me, my body is like subconsciously telling me like, "Hey man, you're like really hot. Let's get out of here." But it's like
Yeah.
sometimes it could take away from me trying to focus on the performance and giving it life and time and patience because your body's in survival mode a little bit. I do have
Yeah.
ventilation, so don't worry, guys. I'm not dying
Good.
in there. But yeah. So my last question is, I like to ask my guests this because I think it's important, right? So, how important is mental health as an actor, in your opinion?
So important. As someone who was trained formally in acting from the age of, oh, math is hard. I was 18 when I graduated 12th grade. 14? Are you 14 when you enter high school typically? I trained from the time I was 14 through the time I was 22. One might call that adolescence. I have a lot of thoughts about teaching children acting and how. I am not an educator by any means. I have a lot of friends who are now, and I'm like so jealous of the kids in their class because while I had a lot of great teachers, I think these guys probably have even more of the mental health in mind than those teachers did. Um, and it's really important because like, I was in high school, I started experiencing a lot of loss of people like in my family, people at my school, and that's hard to deal with at any age, but especially as a young person. And we were working more Strasbourg in high school. So, I've got Adler and Strasbourg, while also thought of as foes, are also kind of like two schools of thought in terms of modern acting and the Stanislavski of it all. So Adler is very like imagination based and like, creating all these memories and circumstances and all that stuff. Strasberg is more the emotion memory recall, and both are considered the method. So when Jared Leto comes and sends you a bloody pig head and says that's method acting, know that it's not. It's actually not. The method is Stanislavski. There's nothing in there about doing that crazy shit, and people are just insane. Um, but since we were working with a technique that was very based on like you and your experiences, I think it was really important to have some sort of like mental emotional fortitude, which I'm not really sure if I had at the time. I certainly don't think I scarred myself in any way. I think I was able to draw on experiences from my life without like hurting myself emotionally or physically or anything. But then I also know that there were kids in my small class of 16, there were 16 of us in total my year, who had a lot harder of a time with it because they had different life experiences and different families and all these things, different home lives. So um I think mental health is a hugely important part of it, obviously, as is physical health. But playing with emotions is not something to be done lightly. It can be really fun. It is really fun, but you also have to learn for yourself what are the tools, what are the rituals, whatever it is that allow you to do your job safely. And then maybe at some point you won't have to think about it so much, but different projects come, like there can be a project that is like cozy, fluffy, sunshine, lollipops, rainbows. But then there can be a job where it's like, I just had an audition for something that's like 17 plus because there's mentions of, sexual assault among other things, and, a lot of violence and, that sort of stuff. And I don't think it's to be taken lightly. I think it's to be taken seriously, because if you're portraying these things, you have to have a lot of empathy for it, and you also might have to like experience it or re-experience it if you're someone who has had that experience before. Um and your safety as a person and a performer, I think, is always more important than anything else. Like there are plenty of stories about movies and TV shows and probably voiceover projects where people did crazy shit and got an incredible result. But I think we're past that time, and I think we need to value, we have so many tools and so many things at our disposal. We need to value the people just as much, if not more, than we value the product. Because you're going to get a great product without traumatizing someone, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And in this industry, you're going to deal with rejection. You're going to deal with feelings of low self-worth. At
Oh,
times,
yeah.
maybe you didn't get that role you really wanted, and now you feel like you're not
And it's
enough.
hard. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's really hard. I mean, hey, I'll recommend therapy to everyone. I've gotten really lucky with my therapist where I've like loved the ones that I've been with long term pretty much right off the bat. Um, but yeah, I mean, therapy, talk to people, like talk to your friends and stuff about it. I know it can be really hard, or it can feel embarrassing sometimes to be like, oh, I like auditioned for XYZ and I didn't get any of it, or like I got this far and they went with someone else. And it's really common in this industry to feel like I am not getting any wins. But as I am working on in my therapy, we celebrate the things that we have, we practice gratitude. Um, we try to, not toxically, but like when our brain is like running us on these negative mental loops, we got to break out of it and, try to counter it with like a positive thought. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I did all these auditions and I didn't get any of them. The positive would be like, I did all of these auditions and now all these people know me, or they know a little more about me than they did before because maybe I've auditioned for them before. Like there's all these little things that we can't know are happening. There's a lot of trust that has to come with it, which is also something I'm working on. And it's tough shit, and it's shit you might be working on for the rest of your life. Like I'm on that journey right now, and I'm like, yeah, I might be dealing with the imposter syndrome of it all for the rest of my life. But you got to find a way to live with it and live well with it, because we're not glamorizing the struggle and like the starving artist or the hustle or whatever. Like we as people are too important to put ourselves through the ringer like that unnecessarily. We don't have to. A lot of good can come out of being like a healthy person who is content.
Mental health is super important, and I just wanted to say thank you so much, Rachel, for coming on my podcast. You're the third guest I've had on it,
Woo!
and thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited, very honored.
All right, guys. I will see y'all another time. And yeah, peace.